Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending, well, when you're watching this. How are you doing? For today, it's a lovely, it's around 12 o'clock. I didn't exactly lunch, so yeah. Let's jump to the topic of today's video. Difference between ideas and reality, and how we can easily become prisoners of ideas. So, the thing is, and I talk about that a little bit on the last video about freedom and responsibility. I was talking to my brother. He's a bit idealistic, not very grounded in the realities of our country. So he thinks that complete libertarianism will absolutely solve all of our problems. That means almost no taxes, low spending of the government and things like that. And in theory that's correct. We're using politics as an example, but you can apply this to every concept of life. Because politics, in a way, it's a way of living life. That's why it's so connected to philosophy. It's how do you solve with ideas the truth problems of our lives? The connection between philosophy and psychology and politics is that how do you solve very real issues, very tangible, realistic issues with ideas? What ideas do you have to solve this problem? And the thing is, the answers are not simple. That's why philosophy is kind of a bridge between all of those. Problems are not simple. They have nuance. They have layers. So the ideas, they can be either too simplistic. The ideas can be either too simplistic, too complicated, or unrealistic. Overall unrealistic. One good example of that is communism. And yes, I'm gonna get trashed. I don't care. But the reality is that communism is not very grounded in reality. And every time someone's tried to apply it, it came out terrible. Not just terrible. People died by the million, mainly because the idea says, yeah, I don't care how many people has to die, all I care is revolution. So of course people are gonna die. Their ideas explicitly says, yeah, you know what, we should kill everyone who's opposed to us. And people, it's just so... Sometimes I have seen very good people, very idealistic, saying, oh no, it's a great idea. Oh yeah, why don't you go to Cuba to live? You know, just go to Cuba. Live there. Come on. It's... Okay, so the sad thing is... Well, that would be the difference between the original idea and how people become slaves of the idea. Because this is the thing with communism. A lot of people put it in a pedestal. Even socialism as well. They put it in a pedestal. They don't even know the theory. They don't even know what the actual theory says. Have you any idea how many people just write long speeches and things about Marx? They haven't actually read Marx and what he says. It's just like they cancel someone for a bad tweet, a bad joke about years ago, 10, 15 years ago, but they don't cancel Marx. It's just like, dude, have you actually read what you're talking about? That's when you're becoming a slave of an idea. You're enslaved by the idea, or the idealistic idea of the idea. I don't know if it's clear enough. You become a slave of the romanticized version of the idea, not the idea itself. And that's a problem a lot of people I have seen who are not very acquainted with the nuances of politics. They find themselves, they say, oh yeah, socialism is great. It's just like, yeah. What do you find socialism? Oh, because capitalism is wrong. What do you find capitalism? Oh, because the right is wrong, because da-da-da-da-da. Just like, okay, who made the first definition of right versus left? And it's essentially the enemy made the definition. On the French Revolution, it's just like, you don't actually know the history, isn't it? Or the idea itself, you just know a romanticized version of it. You're becoming enslaved to what someone else told you is the ideal. Oh, make a wish. There. Speaking of romanticism. So, yeah. The thing is, you should always use, at least the way I see it, even before entering into politics. Back in the day, I saw ideas as an advice of what to do with your life and what to do with the government, how to manage things, but not as a strict command that you should follow and get attached to. Because if you get attached to emotionally to an answer that should be rational, then you're not following reason, you're just following emotions. And when you're trying to manage anything in your life, and by this I mean anything even outside of politics, because again, politics is based on ideas, and ideas are, how do you solve with ideas very realistic issue. Realistic issues are the reflection of problems. Those problems come from a need or something you need to solve. And the ideas that both politicians and philosophers and psychologists provide with are theoretical. And yes, it may work sometimes, the answer for one case, the next time it won't work the same way. Just it won't serve you the purpose, and it won't help you to solve the issue. So what do you need to do? Find a different solution, or at least don't use the same carbon copy answer for all of the problems, because it will help you with one problem, that is the very truth, but it won't serve you in the next. That's an issue sometimes I see with psychologists. They get firmly attached to the idea that, oh, Freudian theory or Lacanian theory, I am Jungian. It's just like, yes, that is true, very well, those are theories, very well, but which one or which therapy approach it is better, it works better for this patient in particular? Which therapy would be the best for this patient? Not to serve the theorist, not to say, oh, Jung was correct or Freud was correct. No, we don't have to serve the theorist. We don't have to serve the ideas. We have to serve the needs of the people. This is it. I know you would say that's basic. Not always. And the problem is, both in this case, both politicians, sometimes even therapists do. And I know I'm gonna get roasted for this. How dare she to comment on this? They get religiously attached to an idea. And ideas should be an approach, a rational approach to a problem, not an emotional approach. And if you're serving a theory, you're serving it from an emotional point of view, not a rational one. So when you get too clingy to an idea of how to live, that's the problem. Now you might think, but Victoria, we need parameters or things where to live by. Yes, those are morals. Morals should be the backbone of your life. You should live by those morals and breathe by those morals. Those are boundaries. Morals and boundaries are going to be your best friends in your life. But ideas are a combination between how do you combine this reality that you have, this very harsh reality, with the morals you have and the reality you're on. How do you handle those two? And politics sometimes people, they forget about that. Ideas should be flexible. They should be manageable. Morals, they should be your backbone. Reality, it's your ground. If you don't know where the ground is, you're not going to be able to jump, to fly, to run. Without a spine, you don't run, you don't jump, you don't move. And in some cases, depending on where is the lesion of your issues, or is the in which level is the issue, you won't even breathe. You cannot live without morals and boundaries. You cannot function as a human being, as an individual, as a society, without a backbone, without a spine that coordinates everything, the morals, without boundaries like the skin, and without being attached to the ground to know where is the ground. If your nervous system doesn't know where is the ground, then you're fucking lost, with all due respect. Many politicians, because they're manipulative, they don't care about ideas, morals, or the people. They care about themselves. They're self-servant. They want the people to serve them, not the other way around. They will make you forget about your boundaries, that you are an individual. They will make you forget about your spine. They will make you lose your backbone, and they will make you detach from reality. And you need reality to solve any issue, to walk towards a path, towards a solution. And that's why many times ideas can transform you into a slave. And I have seen this a lot in politics, and I'm on psychologists, and Freud was the best. Okay, what about this patient? What about this patient? Well, we have to use this therapy, but you're using the same therapy for everyone. No, but Freud. Okay, but what about the reality of this patient? And then in politics, I saw the same issue. I saw an issue with, oh, but communism is the solution. Okay, I'm glad you think that. First, have you ever read the ideas? Yes, I have. Okay, I can tell you love to kill people. But what about when it was truthfully applied, and it was in Russia, in China, in Cuba? What about those places? Oh, they're fantastic. I'm just like, okay, you're being exasperating. You are completely detached from reality, my love. Okay, because capitalism bad. Okay. Why do you tell me this when you hold an iPhone in your hand? And it's just like, oh no, but this is something I have. It's just like, dude, your phone is like 10 times more valuable. Yes, but I have a right to this. You do. Yes. Why? Because I can afford it. Why you can afford it? Because you have the freedom to afford it, and you have the freedom to choose what you buy. You have the freedom to choose what you buy. And that's a responsibility, because you have to get yourself the money. You have to have an open market. Those things do not exist in communism, my love. It's just like I wouldn't even manage to get to the half of that before having to face a temper tantrum. Because my God, those people can have a temper tantrum faster than anyone else. Now that is an extreme, of course, because they have to deny. They're like genocide deniers. They are completely deniers of anything wrong that's ever happened in any communist country. The sad thing is, everyone speaks about those people who ruled Germany about 12 years, but no one ever talks about other dictatorships. And everyone forgets that those rulers from Germany that ruled for so many years, they were socialists. Yeah, they were leftists. So the thing is, people hold on to an idea, and the idea should be like a theory. It's a theory, it's a social theory on what you could do to improve the situation, hypothetically speaking. Because killing people by the bucket is not improving the situation, it's just getting it worse. So it's like, okay, let's see what worked from that theory and what we should never apply ever again, like genocide. And people who become prisoners of the idea, of an ideal idea, of the idea, of a romanticized version of the idea, they become blind and they become automatically genocide deniers, poverty denier, and they don't really see the reality. The ideas should be a theory that once applied, you can see how they function in reality. That's why ideas should never lose that attachment to reality, because you need to be connected with reality, because the focus of anything you're trying to solve, it's very grounded in reality. You're trying to solve poverty. That's very good, very low, very kind, very sweet from you. How are you going to do it? But then you propose something unrealistic and you're just like, yeah, you're going to have a revolution knocking at your door in less than 3 days if you do that. It's just, no, not realistic, not at least in a specific population such as this. People just forget, and they just forget. And yeah, that's why I was pondering about that, and I explained to my brother, yes, libertarian ideas are ideally very good. Realistically, in the culture where we are at, it wouldn't work, unfortunately. We need to make a, and I hate this because that's a very communist concept, a cultural revolution. I cannot believe them. You see, there are things that just because they're evil doesn't mean they're wrong. That's why I wanted to ponder on this, because I see people too attached, and this is for both sides of the political spectrum. People go just full on Christian fanatic. It's just equally wrong, because not even Jesus was a fanatic of his own religion. He was like, you should be understanding, you should not judge everyone around you. And just fanaticism in any of its forms, it's damaging. We should aim or try to do our best to have a balanced-minded approach to issues and problems, with a realistic approach. And whenever we find an issue, both in our lives or anything, and this is, okay, I have this idea of how to solve X, Y, and Z problem. Okay, how are you going to go about it? Well, I'm going to do this and this and that. That's a lovely idea. How realistic is that? If it's somewhat realistic, yeah, go for it. And you go and learn from your mistakes. And this is in everything in life. I want to be a chef. Okay. Can you afford the classes? No. Can you pick up a new job that can help you to pay the classes? Well, yeah, maybe. Well, try to do that. Okay. And I want to be a chef. Okay. How much cooking do you know? Well, I know this little and I'm not very good at baking. Well, you should start practicing. You should better start practicing if you don't know this and this and that. I want to, and this is something I find quite often with my students when I tutoring children or adults. Yeah, I want to do this equation, but then you realize they don't know any fractions, or they don't know how to multiply numbers, and just like, oh my god, yeah, you're not ready, my love. You're so not ready. So, you may have an idea. This is in every aspect of life. I know how difficult this is, but detachment is for a reason. The ultimate form of enlightenment. Because if you become attached to an idea, you become a prisoner of it. And you become blind to the reality of life, and you become blind to a possible solution that could be even easier than the solution you're trying to apply, and probably less deadly than a genocide. Oh my god. Just leaving that note over there. So, yeah. Do tell me, what do you think about this topic? It's just a quick reflection I wanted to make. What are the ideas? This is the thing, the ideas, you have to approach them with a hint of truth. Look at it and say, okay, within the realistic realm of possibilities, the truthful thing about myself and others around me, can I do this? If you can do it, yes, go for it. Now if you can't because it's not realistic, okay, find a way around it. But be realistic about it. Always attached to reality. Never detach from reality. Someone that is detached from reality, it's literally crazy. We call people crazy, but they detach from reality. But we don't call politicians crazy. No, we just call them respectable senator. Oh, look at this respectable congresswoman, respectable congressman. And it doesn't really matter the political side of the spectrum. All it matters is how attached to reality they are. Now, the issue with many politicians I have is not that they don't have an attachment to reality. They're the most realistic people you will ever see, but they manipulate reality to make it fit to themselves. That is the issue I have. And that's why I love politics, because they have an overindulgent obsession with themselves. And they don't care about the people, they just care about themselves. Now, normally, in a different culture, people would just yeet their butt cheeks out of the Congress or out of the office if they didn't do what they promised, if they didn't do as they should, if they engaged in any corruption, they would get fired. Now, this is South America. So, people is like, okay, so he was stealing money from the government, okay, but does he give away money to me too? Do I get a cut? And it's just like, no. Yes. If no, they will yeet your ass out of the office. If yes, you can stay. Yeah, sure. So it's not the problem, the idea of being libertarian. Libertarian ideas are very sweet, very lowable, very, very sweet. But they're a bit naive in an area such as this, because it's not that the people don't want freedom, it's that the people are willing to sell their freedom to the highest bidder. So yeah, it's not that they're not good ideas, it's that realistically in this local culture they don't function so well. Not because there are no hard-working people who wouldn't be willing to have such change. It's because there is a critical mass of people, or a significant amount of people, who don't really give two damns if you steal money from the government. All they care about is themselves. So it's about culture and how they see the responsibility either in the individual or in the community. People like those who ruled in Germany during those 12 years, they rule because, and there was an experiment about this in psychology, of the shared responsibility effect. So there's a responsibility that the community shares. The thing is, when the community behaves in a detached manner, oh yeah, the community is going to do that. They don't see it as an individual effort. As soon as they see, oh, I have to do the effort, I have to do the sacrifice. No way. No. No. So, yeah. So this is a quick reflection I had for you guys. Tell me, what do you think about it? Do you find it enlightening, entertaining, annoying? I don't know. Do you like the leaves? The lovely morning with all the sunlight? And yeah, I'd like to appreciate very much to everyone who's subscribed. Thank you so much. I wholeheartedly appreciate your time and the fact that you're watching this. And yeah, until next time, I hope you're having a lovely weekend. And may you have a lovely week. And a better month. Till next time, bye bye.